Welcome back, Wash Up Walkons fans, episode 209 of the podcast. Today we're back, another awesome guest, a guy that I think a lot of us have a lot of respect for because he found a way to use his 24 hours that he was given in a day during Iowa football much more efficiently than we were able to find ourselves using our time. And because of that, he became uber successful before we even knew what a job was. World traveler, legendary human, Connor Keane. Welcome to the podcast, bud.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you guys. Looking forward to the podcast today.
Dude, it's been so long.
I know. It's been forever.
I hit you up like 2 months ago and said, like, bro, we got to get you on the podcast. Like, I want to talk about all the stuff you've done, even all the way back to Iowa. And for those listening, Connor came in the same class that we did, 2013, into Iowa City, from St. Paul, Minnesota.
Yeah.
What was the dream back then, bro? Like, what was the dream?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I just, wanted to come to Iowa and potentially make the NFL. Obviously, I think that's everyone's goal, right? When you come into the program. Obviously didn't work out that way. But overall, I mean, obviously had a great time and yeah, really looking forward to getting caught up with everybody.
Drake mentioned it in the intro. You used your time a little bit better, probably. It's definitely than I did. I remember back in. Were you on third floor of Hillcrest?
I was on second floor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
but I was right next. Fuck you then. All right.
I was right next to Pete and John Kenny. So we had a pretty busy area for sure.
Busy is a good word. So we had John on, and he was John was like traveling because he works with Monarch now.
Yeah, right.
He was like traveling. He's like in Texas or Alabama or somewhere at the time, Oklahoma maybe.
Austin, Texas.
And he was like wearing a cowboy hat. He was just at some like Airbnb. It was the funniest stuff, man. He was true John Kenny fashion. For those listening, just like John or Brandon Bishop or even like Reed Silby, for those of you who have listened to those episodes, Connor's a guy who kind of lit up the locker room and was just a good all-around dude. But you probably didn't hear his name mentioned a lot because he wasn't on the field on Saturdays. And there's so many guys that we played with that are like Connor who, to be honest, Connor's doing bigger, better things than football anyway, but and has been for a while. But you just don't get to learn those stories. And I don't know. I was always fascinated with you, man. Like you always had something that you were doing. And in short prep for this podcast, I went back and I found a post from the UI early on about your Swivel Shaker and your laundry service, dude. I forgot about that. Talk about those.
Dude, I even forgot about the laundry service, to be honest. Yeah, so I guess, taking it back to high school, I guess is kind of where my entire kind of entrepreneurship, I guess, journey began. And by the way, I think you guys are giving me way too much credit. I'm nowhere near successful yet in terms of where I'm trying to go. But I appreciate the kind words. But,
of course.
But definitely not making the NFL money yet. But yeah, so essentially, I guess back in high school, a buddy of mine and we actually started kind of selling like Beats by Dre headphones on Craigslist, which right when they came out, which is like when we were in high school. And what we would do is we would line up a buyer before we even had the product because we'd be buying it from somebody else. We'd put up these ads on Craigslist and we say, hey, Beats by Dre headphones, whatever, $250, whatever's a little bit under retail. And what we did then is we would also have ads out to buy these Beats for, call it, $150, $175. So when somebody was emailing us to actually buy the headphones, then we hit up the person who's selling them, go buy them real quick, drive 20 minutes, down the road and go sell them for like $80 profit, $100 profit, which, in high school, it's, to make that amount in 20, 30 minutes, it's not bad.
Bro, you're hustling. That's hustling right there. That's some Gary Vee shit.
So then I guess I stumbled upon the entrepreneurship program at Iowa. So the Swivel Shaker so my dad actually was in like the restaurant industry. He worked for like Coca-Cola, M&M's growing up. So I was kind of always around like different products like that. And so it was basically this high-end like salt and pepper shaker for restaurants, which looking back, it's like not even that big of a deal, but I won like a $500 elevator pitch competition at the University of Iowa, and I was kind of hooked from there. So that's, I guess, yeah, that's kind of how I got started, and I've obviously done a couple different things since then. But that's kind of where it all started.
Was it tough for you to, I mean, I guess you could talk about the football side of it, because kind of as Drake alluded to, the football side was like, I mean, that's a full-time job, right? And you're waking up, lifts, meetings, practice, more meetings. You're studying film away from the facility just to be able to compete. Did you find it a struggle to manage your time? KF used to always talk about, not even KF, everybody used to talk about time management, right? As a Division I athlete, or as a college athlete in general. And you had a lot on your plate. Did you find it hard to manage putting full effort into all of the things that you were kind of into?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think where I kind of decided, right, because like as you mentioned, you only have so much time in a day. I think that football was definitely still my number one focus, because if you're out too late or you're working on other things, whatever it is, and your mind isn't there. And not to mention, obviously, as a walk-on, as you guys know, like I wasn't the most talented guy, so it's like
Walk
I
on
had to
Army,
make sure
baby.
that I had to make sure that I had my shit straight, when it came to making sure I showed up on time, making lifts, doing everything I needed to do. So that was definitely still the number one priority. But I will say, social aspect, obviously, kind of more on the weekends. That was about it. Which for us, it was kind of tough with football anyway, right? We weren't doing a whole lot of other things. But yeah, time management. I would say that school probably took a hit more than anything else. We kind of just got by in terms of that. But then yeah, I tried to focus more on my extracurricular kind of entrepreneurship activities for sure.
That's incredible. I remember at one point you're like, I don't know if this is actually what it was, because I was kind of fascinated by it. At one point, I'm pretty sure you were like messing around with drop shipping or something like that in the middle of college. And I just, like, you would come in, you were like kind of, a few of the guys like knew a little bit about it, and you were like making money from it. And I was just like, dude, what is he doing? I gotta get on. I gotta get on this stuff. Like, I want to make some cash too. And like, what was that all about? That was like maybe a year or two in.
Yeah, I think that started like maybe my junior year or so. So kind of, and that's kind of why I prefaced it with the Beats by Dre story, was because it's literally the exact same concept, but instead of having to drive 20 minutes or whatever, I just did it all online.
Yeah, it was
So
online arbitrage.
yeah, so I set up like an Amazon storefront, because that was kind of like, and it's obviously still the hot thing now. But like back then, you could be a third party seller on Amazon really pretty easily. And so what I did is I did a bunch of different research on different websites to find, essentially what the price is going for on Amazon versus what the price is going on these other websites. And for whatever reason, like eBay and like all these other websites were selling things for cheaper than what was on Amazon. And so what I did is I did a bunch of different like product research, and I was sold everything from like Bluetooth headsets to crock pots to even home telephones, like whatever. As long as there's a difference in price, I pretty much tried to sell it. But yeah, so essentially just grew. I think I had like $300 or $400 from my birthday that I had gotten, and grew it, to a decent amount over a couple of years. But yeah, essentially how it would work is, same thing. I had these products listed on my Amazon site, and then as soon as somebody bought it from me, I would go to eBay or wherever and buy it from there, and then ship it directly to whoever bought it from me on Amazon. So it was pretty much just a middleman, passing the product from one person to another. And yeah, I would just do it. Like I'd come in from a lift or practice, or I was in the hot tub and I get an order or whatever. And, everyone's on their phones anyway in the hot tub. So I would just, put an order through or whatever. So as a walk on, and like, we were spending 35 hours a week on practice and lifts and stuff.
Oh, care hours, 20 hours a week. 20.
Yeah, I suppose.
No, fuck that.
It was the only way to make money, I guess, as a walk on. We weren't getting those scholarship checks.
You didn't have those NIL rights.
That I did not.
God damn.
I love that. That probably wouldn't have been worth anything anyway.
Yeah, I don't think any of us really were.
Yeah.
Drake probably could have been the beneficiary of some commercial cash after he broke his leg for like the local orthopedic surgeon or something like that.
100%.
Listen, dude, if Dr. Wolf wanted to use me as an advertisement, he definitely could, because I have a lot of hours of his work put into my beat to shit frame.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. And honestly, you're pretty, the puzzle's kind of put back together right now. Even if well, there's a couple missing pieces, but the edges are there at least.
I guess.
Yeah. It's pretty beat up though.
Dude, who's the coolest person you've met because of either Iowa football or entrepreneurship?
Oh man, that is a tough question.
Because you've been to some insane place, like some actual bucket list. You jumped out of a plane over Dubai.
Yeah.
Like you've done some insane things. I feel like you got to have met some cool people.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think the coolest person, or I guess one of the guys that I looked up to when I first got into the travel industry, well, two people actually. One is this guy named Eric Demir who runs a Instagram page called Earth Picks. It's just the word Earth and then PIX. It's the largest travel community on all social media, and so being able to meet him just through kind of the travel scene was really cool. And there's actually another content creator down who's based in Miami named Jeremy Austin. I think he has close to 600,000 followers now on Instagram. So those are two guys, just being in the travel scene and trying to kind of make my name there. Those are definitely two guys that I really looked up to and have been fortunate to meet for sure.
I want to talk about the travel thing real quick, because then, 2-3 years in, you were with us for all the way up through the 2016 season, right?
Yeah, correct.
And I want to talk about the mindset, kind of the decision to, leave football behind and then start pursuing other things, because I'm sure that's something that tore at you. I feel like, knowing you, it's something that tore at you. You're making money doing this other stuff. Eventually you kind of start to see like football isn't going where I originally hoped it might. And I want to go chase after these other opportunities, but I've got this football thing that's dragging me down now. But at some point you own this Instagram account. And then I hear about this and I'm like, what the fuck is going on, man? Like, he's got like an Instagram account that's about like travel and it's got like 100,000 followers. How did that even happen?
Yeah. So I guess going back to the first part of the question, it was definitely something, really since, I would just say probably going into our redshirt sophomore, redshirt junior year, kind of like, it was just hard, like, because yeah, you're right, you're putting in the effort. But the thing too is, like, for me, I knew that I was putting 100% effort into everything that I was doing. So I couldn't be mad at the end of the day if I didn't stack up. Now, of course, obviously I wanted to, right? I wanted to compete. I wanted to be on the field more. But it's like, there's only so much we can do.
Right.
So that, that decision was definitely tough. Just because, obviously I had been playing football since, we were all, however young we start playing football. And so it was just tough, to kind of make that decision, but it definitely, was kind of propelled by that. And so, I think too, something that I don't know if I'd ever shared this with anybody, but Coach Ferentz is so, like, obviously so genuine and nice when it came to me kind of making my decision. He even offered to, write me like a letter of recommendation. And wow. I wish I would have taken him up on that. I think it would have been really cool just to have that as, just kind of something to reference my time with Iowa. But
you could probably still get one if you wanted it.
Yeah, I suppose.
He would for sure still write it, just out of principle.
Yeah, for sure. So that's something I always liked, about him. It's just total man of principle, as you guys well know. But in terms of the travel stuff, yeah, I guess, I guess kind of, I didn't travel growing up at all. Maybe a couple of road trips to like Wisconsin Dells, being originally from Minnesota, but never left the country, never really did a whole lot of traveling growing up. And so, once I had made just like a little bit of money and stuff from Amazon, I started traveling. And so it really just opened my eyes. I think it was after 2016 or 2016 spring ball. I think I took like a solo trip to Hawaii for this, and I was like, growing up in Minnesota, I'd never been anywhere tropical or anything like that, and so that was cool. And so that was kind of what opened my eyes to it, to the point where, yeah, I actually purchased the Instagram account that you were talking about, Tyler, from this guy in Spain. Never met him, just DM'd this account. I'm like, hey, do you want to sell your account? And he was like, yeah, sure. So we kind of agreed on a price. Paid him half up front. He could have just ran. I mean, I don't know. I guess I just had blind faith the guy was actually going to like follow through with the right password and stuff for the Instagram account. But yeah. So then did that, and then essentially kind of partnered with a bunch of different hotels and as Jacob mentioned, Skydive Dubai and a bunch of different kind of partners across the world over the last couple of years.
Dude, that's insane. I mean, like, and you don't have like a So essentially what you did is you leveraged the following of the account to then sell the partnership of, hey, if you pay for me to come here, I'll highlight it on this Instagram page.
Yeah, for sure. And it wasn't
Dude,
always.
you're so fucking smart. I mean, you're so smart.
I think
Where
you're
did
giving
that
me too
come
much
from?
credit.
Like, was that just you saw other people doing that, or it was just in you? Like that just idea hit you? Because to me, that's genius, bro. And like, it makes so much sense.
Yeah, so it definitely wasn't my original idea. Just some other people had done it. You know, it's really just goes back to however long. I mean, you could call it. I mean, it's such a big term now, but influencer marketing, right? I mean, obviously, like Nike was doing it with Michael Jordan way back in the day, right? Like it's
Right.
always been around. It's just a matter of it being a lot more accessible for kind of people like us now. But no, I had seen other people do it before, and they weren't always paid. You know, in terms of like money in my pocket, it was more like, hey, you know, I'll come out and highlight this hotel, or you know, you're skydiving or whatever, and it'll just be comped or whatever, right? So free stay, free room, whatever it may be. That's kind of how it all got started. And then I just kind of built a portfolio because, you know, I started with like a Waldorf Astoria hotel here in Chicago, and I'm like, hey, when I'm reaching out to other hotels, I'm like, hey, I've worked with them, and you just kind of keep stacking it, and kind of create a little portfolio. Bigger. Yeah, exactly.
That's insane. And you just like, man, just decided to like, hey, can I buy this Instagram account? At the time, how many followers did it have?
I think it had close to 100,000 or so. And then over the couple of years that I had it, I've actually since sold it to
Smart man. Hey, flip it for a profit, just like anything else.
The exit. The exit.
Yeah, the exit. So I sold it last summer to a media company in New York. They were looking to add like a travel branch to the social media stuff. So, but yeah, grew it from like 100 to like around 230,000 or so.
God
over
damn.
like a couple years.
You don't have to say the number, but like that buying and selling Instagram accounts, it kind of fascinates me. Like, do you know what kind of like crazy prices those kind of accounts start to go for? Like when they get real big like that?
Yeah. I would
like,
say,
is it in the tens of thousands of dollars?
So it's weird because it depends. And the reason why is because like engagement is huge now. So it's like, because obviously people can buy fake followers. So you could have 1 million followers, but have 10 likes on your post. And
I need to do that, by the way. I've been meaning to get on that for my personal account.
Yeah. So I you know, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. But yeah, I mean, anywhere, I mean, you could have 100,000 follower account go for $20,000 or $30,000 if the engagement is really targeted. Now that wasn't what mine was, you know, but it was, they're out there and for sure. Yeah.
So I imagine this ended up being a good investment on the bottom line.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you know, the money that I put up was actually completely, because I actually went back, because I did a week-long trip in California. I started in Los Angeles, stayed there for a couple of days, went down to Temecula, to wine country, stayed there for a couple of days, and then finished in San Diego and flew back from there. And that entire trip itself covered for my initial investment from the page. And then obviously kind of did some other things after that as well. So yeah, I would say all in all, in terms of like money made in my pocket, it wasn't a ridiculous amount, but in terms of like the services and everything that I got out of it, definitely like, I think 6 or 7x probably what I initially paid.
So where's the master?
Why get out of it?
So the reason I decided to get out of it was because for me, like I realized that I wanted to create like a true business in social media. And so, or sorry, not in social media, in the travel industry. And so that's actually kind of what I'm working on now, which I'm sure we'll get to. But you know, with it just being a social media page that was pretty much reposting other people's content, they're almost like a dime a dozen, right? There's no separation. You're kind of, when you're not posting your own photos, you're posting other people's photos and tagging them. And there's so many like themed pages like that out there that I was like, I don't really want to run this anymore. But, you know, because I want to focus on building like a real business with, you know, real employees and stuff like that.
Makes sense. The so you finally decide to get out of football after I imagine that was paired with like graduation, right?
Yep.
So
2017.
Yeah, 2017 May.
So the winter, I got out about
3.5
before that. Yeah. Yep.
Smart guy. So just, you know, bullet point after bullet point proving that you're the smartest on this podcast. So you graduate. What was the first thing that you did after you got out of football and then you got into the business world? What are you doing at that point?
Yeah. So I actually had a couple different sales jobs because I needed to build up capital essentially to build a company, and so I knew that I couldn't get by on wishful thinking and things like that. I really needed money. So
how much better of a salesman are you than Kevin? Just right off the bat.
Because Kevin's in orthopedic, trauma sales right now.
Not tough competition.
I would say I'm better. I don't know. We'll see.
I'm not going to fight you.
Okay, continue. I just wanted to shit on Kevin.
If you guys laced up the harness, who wins in the tug of war drill when you're running opposite ways?
Ooh, I don't know. Kevin has that lower body strength. I don't know. I think he may have me beat on that.
Yeah. Okay. 1-1.
I would fight you I'd give away the salesman one, but I'd fight you on the tug of war one.
Yeah. What are you deadlifting these days? 800.
Just enough to make him pass out.
Exactly.
But yeah. So you got into some sales gigs.
Yeah. So I just had a couple different sales jobs, and so I'm still working a software sales job here in Chicago, and then just pretty much saving up money until it's time for me to kind of go off on my own to officially launch my company.
Dude, I'm inspired.
Now I got to hear about the company though, because being somebody who created their entire own company, pretty interested in that.
Yeah, for sure. So essentially what it's going to be is it's gonna be a luxury luggage company. So when I, throughout the whole social media kind of era that I had, and also the experience and people I've met, like travel for me was like the biggest thing that I love to do. And so I'm like, okay, well, how can I build, a business in the travel industry, doing something that I love kind of for the rest of my life. And so it's gonna be a luxury luggage company. The reason why is because I like the highest event things, and it's actually funny. I was going to mention this. A lot of the things, I've been studying the luxury industry. It's very similar to all the things that we learned at Iowa, which is kind of weird because you don't think about 120 guys, sweating it out in a gym, as like the most luxurious thing in the world. But a lot of these companies, they pay attention to detail, the daily disciplines, making sure they're the best, things like that. And so what we're going to be doing is making the highest end bags, and we're going to be selling them to different regions in the world. So essentially there's going to be different categories of the bags based on different parts of the world. So that's without getting too much into it right now, I guess that's really all I can say at this point.
That's elite. When do you guys think you're going to launch the company?
So we just finished our first prototype. I have a designer over in Italy working to complete the prototype. So we're going to have a duffel bag, a backpack, and a passport holder to start. And so we just finished the first duffel bag prototype. So I would say within the next year or so, everything should be launched.
Dude, you're Gucci. You're not, as in you're not good. Like you're actually Gucci. You're becoming travel Gucci. Is what you are.
Trying to get there slowly. But surely.
My God, dude.
And you're have a lot of partners?
No, I'm all by myself.
All by yourself? How did you get the capital?
So
Shark Tank it?
No, dude, he's just been grinding. He probably eats ramen every night. Tell us about your diet and how it's changed since Iowa and having to keep weight on. And do you sleep on the floor with no pillow?
No, absolutely not. That's actually something I'm kind of glad was naturally brought up, because after Iowa, I think you maybe mentioned, I think Kevin got a Snapchat from Budget or something about like how he hadn't touched the weight in a year and a half. Like, dude, I was the exact same way. I was like, I'm burnt out. I don't even want to look at like a lift. I'm never squatting again in my life. All that. So I think after, I would say probably a year or so after I was done in Iowa, I was just like, I didn't even want to work out at all. So, but then I realized I'm like, okay, I actually need to like get back on the horse here. And so started actually working out more. And I know, Tyler, we had mentioned it a couple of times, maybe through texts. I did the 75 hard program.
Mm-hmm.
So is Drake and Kevin, are they aware of that at all?
I don't know.
Heard of it.
You can, it's pretty simple. I mean,
yeah. So it's a really complete mental transformation program. So I just, I deep down, I'm like, I know that I'm leaving something in the tank mentally. I just kind of wanted to get some of that edge back that we had at Iowa. And so really,
the Iowa edge.
yeah, 75 days in a row. You have to like follow a diet. You have to have 45-minute workouts every single day. One has to be outside. You have to drink a gallon of water. You have to read 10 pages of a nonfiction book. You have to take a progress picture. You have to do that for 75 days straight. If you miss a meal, if you have a sip of alcohol or something like that, you have to start back on day one. So that really like fine-tuned my brain, kind of back to where I wanted to get to. And
you got
really
a little bit
out.
bodied up too, man.
Yeah. So through that, because I was like 197. It wasn't a good 197 when I started. And I got down to like 177 or so. And then I kind of kept going and I got down to like 171 this summer. And I was like, this is too skinny. So I've kind of been building back up actually here over the last 3 months or so. And so now I'm back up to 195, but it's a better 195 for sure.
Good. Bro, when you, I'll lay claim to it here. When you are fucking big time and you're rolling around in like your own private jet, whatever company you own in 15 years, I will be your personal trainer, your traveling personal trainer. And
that would be very nice.
I call that gig right now. Yeah.
You got it.
Good.
You got it.
And we're doing 5x5 at 85%. So get ready.
Gun over your head.
Yeah,
and now you just lost your job, dude. If you would have just shut the fuck up, you would have had a job. And now you just lost your job.
No, dude, I find that people, once they don't have a direction or someone telling them what to do after a long period of time, people will they like to, and it works, is the reason why they know that if they pay money to have someone put them through hard shit, the results are usually good. So it is what it is. Speaking of 85,
shameless little self-plug there.
Yeah. 85 for 5. Tyler Kluver Fitness, by the way. You can go to tylerkluver.com. Reach me at the contact page. Client spots filling up fast. I'm in high demand. But there are a few slots open. So
that right there made me want to tank your whole business.
Okay. Try. Speaking of 5x5 for at 85%, when you think back to Iowa football, what comes to mind? Like, what's the first, like if someone asks you about your playing days, you meet somebody and you kind of start talking about like,
say, hey man, what was it like to play for Iowa football?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would, I mean, obviously without having a whole lot of field experience, I think a lot of it was just the camaraderie, I mean, Tyler, we were close to each other in the locker room and everything, and kind of that corner. I would just say that in like the workouts, like all the summer workouts, all the winter workouts, everything. I just think like little stories and little camaraderie that I've had with the team is definitely what I take away, and along with obviously all the life lessons and stuff like that. 100%.
Favorite memories?
Yeah, God, I have a lot, I guess. I think the very first summer, you guys had Steve Manders on, right? Like earlier in the show. Yeah. So he was my first roommate.
Oh. Do you still follow Mandy?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Fucking corn belt cowboy, baby.
Yeah.
The one called Manders.
Yeah, I think I bought a shirt and like a winter beanie from him. So
I have a shirt from him as well.
Yeah. So it was like the first summer heading into our freshman year, and we were staying at like Park Lawn. Do you guys remember where that is, or were you guys?
Yeah. It's kind of over by the old the Art Building West, right?
I was not a part of the early group. I was scum of the earth.
Yeah, it's over by like the public pool, the public Iowa City pool.
Yep.
Over there. And so he was my first roommate there, and I remember like we would go to workouts or before workouts or I think we're in the afternoon group actually, which was hot.
Bad.
3 p.m.
Bad.
We played so much NCAA 14. I think obviously I think they're coming back out with the game again. But like I don't know if you guys ever talked with Steve about like just college football in general. Like he's like an encyclopedia. Like we would be like
every player from every team.
Yeah, we'd be playing the game and it'd be like, oh, this guy transferred from here, went to JUCO with this guy and transferred. I'm like, dude, like it just says like wide receiver number 6. Like how do you know that? It made no sense. So
Steve,
dude, so
shout out to Steve too, man, because talk about following a dream and like betting on yourself. Dude's 100%. Out there. Dude's out there.
100%.
Some of
I
the
will always
videos,
support him.
I just sent a video to the Benton chat of him and some other big bald dude just headbutting each other and like breaking chairs.
Gushing blood.
Yeah, blood everywhere. I mean, the man is out there living, baby. He's gonna make it. I promise you, there's gonna be a time, maybe 10 years from now, where he is a fucking superstar in Japan. And I promise it's gonna happen.
100%. 100%. Speaking of Ben, do you guys remember
Oh boy.
do you guys remember this place along Benton that was called the Touch of Mink?
Oh yeah, we're familiar with the Touch of Mink.
I was just
I don't think
curious
it's
if
there
you guys-
anymore. I'm pretty sure
I
it's
don't think
gone.
it is either. I think people can go ahead and Google that. It just made me think of that. 'Cause I don't know. It's just a funny little thing about
Was that the
obviously.
salon, Kevin?
Yeah, that was I think it got raided by the cops for.
It was
the same thing that Robert Kraft got in trouble.
It was a rub and tug joint. we lived 35 feet from a rub and tug. Unbelievable, dude.
Yeah, I was on my moped on the way to lift early in the morning one day. I thought I said Drake walking out of there.
Yeah, dude, that's the only place that any of my money went. I tried to go to Riverside and win poker tournaments just so I could get dry hand jobs at the Mink.
From the Touch of Mink. Well, actually, first you stopped at Zio Giano's for some breadsticks, and then you went to the Touch of Mink. That was a good little spot. And then they put the Subway on that corner. Man,
Fire.
Anyway,
All right, Connor, so being that you did some awesome shit outside of football while being in football, was football worth it? Or would you, if you could go back again and do 4 years of college, would you put all your eggs in like the business basket instead of having to devote so much time? Or do you think you got more out of Iowa football than you could have without it?
I think I definitely got more out of it than I could, right? Like obviously you'd love to have both, but I think a lot of the lessons and a lot of the things that I have kind of used and carried forward into business really kind of started there. You know, I mean, I worked out a lot in high school and stuff like that, but in terms of just like the attention to detail and discipline and stuff like that, like getting up when you really don't want to and doing things when you're just not in the mood to do it. I don't think you can really teach that without, actually going through it. So no, I definitely don't have any regrets about that. I would definitely still go through the 4 years.
do you miss a nice chilly -5-degree walk over to the facility in 2013 winter
100%.
for a 6 a.m. lift? Because I do. I'd sign up for that shit right now and I'd pay for it.
Say what you want about it, man. It builds character. Follow up to Drake's question. How much do you think college, the actual classes and courses, helped you out to get to where you're at now and where you want to go? Or do you kind of just figure it out by yourself?
I'm a big believer in figuring things out by yourself. So in terms of, I did finance and I did entrepreneurial management, which, for what I'm doing, you don't really need a whole lot of formal education.
Same.
So I don't really think the classes were necessarily worth it in terms of what I'm trying to do now. Now I think, if you're trying to be a doctor or a lawyer or a dentist or whatever, 100%, obviously you have to go to school for that. But
I would hope your doctor went to med school.
Yeah. But in terms of what I was doing, I don't think there was really any correlation in terms of what I learned.
That's awesome. What did you see yourself doing as when you were high schooler? Because obviously the hustle was already there, man. Like you were selling beats. Like, did you at 17, 18 years old, did you see yourself becoming, figuring it out for yourself, working for yourself, creating a business? Or did you actually see yourself as like, oh, I'm going to go into business? And
there was actually a lot of kids from Muscatine like you, Connor, except they didn't do it with beats. They did it with
drugs,
meth and weed. Very similar though.
Same lessons, man, at the end of the day.
Hey, dude, hustlers all the same, man.
Yeah.
Connor probably started with coke. He just didn't tell anybody.
Yeah. I like to skip over that part usually, if I can. I don't know. Honestly, I think I was just kind of like in the moment, I don't think I was thinking that far ahead at 17, 18. I think I was just, I was really still focused on football and sports and stuff like that, I was, was able to kind of have some cool experiences in high school. Because the guy that I trained with, he had trained a couple other NFL guys and stuff like that. Because Minnesota's a hockey state, right? Like there's no football presence really in Minnesota compared to even Iowa or Texas or Florida, obviously like those big football states. But so we would go out. We almost kind of did like a skills and drills during the week, a couple days a week. Me and some buddies. We actually, I don't know if it was through a trainer or through someone's relationship, but we had access to like basically these NFL guys that were getting in workouts over at the University of Minnesota. And Larry Fitzgerald would be there because he's originally from Minnesota. So I was running routes with Larry Fitzgerald and learning from him and stuff in like my junior year of high school.
Jesus.
So it's kind of like a funny story. But yeah, like him, Jermichael Finley, who was a tight end for the Packers, like they just have like a group like anywhere from between 10 to 12 guys like every day out there running routes. So we try to get out there whenever we could.
Wow, that's incredible. Did you ever think of when you were at Iowa? Did you ever have any thoughts of like, man, I should have, because I'm sure you could have gone D2 and had a better chance to see a lot of early field time and build a career in the, Connor was a wide receiver. If you haven't picked up on that, Larry Fitzgerald running routes, that kind of thing. Do you ever wish you would have gone somewhere else, somewhere that was interested and, played it and seen the football career play out differently?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, obviously I would have liked to be on the field more. I kind of always thought about that, but at the same time, I had some friends and stuff that kind of went to the smaller schools, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Like as long as you're getting playing time, it's not a big deal at all. But for me, it's like I just wanted to go against like the absolute best and just kind of see where I stacked up. Because if I would have went and did really well at D3 school or D2 school, I don't know, something in me would have just been like I just wonder like where I would have stacked up against the Division I guys and stuff like that, which. So I mean, yeah, there was definitely those thoughts, but definitely no regrets because I went against Dez and Maybach and all these guys, so that's kind of how I got better. But yeah, I mean, it would have been cool to have more playing time, but at the end of the day,
and you made plays, dude. Like it's not like you didn't make. It's not like you didn't make your fair share of plays. Believe me, I got to watch most of practice. Wasn't doing really anything, and I watched you like moss people multiple times. So. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, I got them a couple times. I wasn't. I mean, you guys know, but I wasn't very fast at all. So I just tried to be like a good route runner and try to twist people around. So that was kind of like my role on scout team, which I know I think you had mentioned a couple times. Like I said, I've listened to a lot of the episodes on the podcast. I definitely had like a wake up moment. I think you've kind of asked that to people.
Yeah.
And definitely was freshman year on scout team, of course, and. I was playing like Z receiver, which is, the inside slot receiver, and I'm going against Hitchens, Kirksey, and Morris. One of those three, I basically have to crack back like every single play. I'm like, this is not going to be this, I spend practices on my back a lot more than I did on my feet.
It's exactly like the video clip from NFL Films. Chad Johnson comes across the middle, tries to crack Ray Lewis.
Ray
and now all of a sudden the trainers are pulling him off the field like an oil slick.
That was literally me, like every day of practice.
That's so tough.
It was more of like a wake up, year than it was a wake up, moment, I guess you can call it.
Do you feel the entrepreneurial fire with that same kind of drive of competition that you felt in football?
Oh, for sure. 100%. I think it's something where I'm just a competitor. I personally hate to lose more than I love to win.
Yep.
By far.
How about you guys?
I
wanted to ask you guys.
I couldn't give a fuck about winning. I just don't want to lose.
Yep.
Yeah. How about you, Kevin?
There's nothing that feels worse than losing in life.
Yeah.
I still haven't figured out how to
nice,
handle it. Like I'm almost 27 years old and I still throw shit fits.
Yeah, if Drake loses, he's 14. Like he's not even. He's 6, and he didn't get his milk.
Yeah. So no, I definitely hate to lose. So yeah, I definitely channel that. Obviously can't go out and hit people or whatever. But
well, you could. Drake thinks you can.
Yeah. I suppose you could. But yeah, I definitely try to channel that, and it's definitely made me competitive, and I feel like I'll always be that way, 100%.
Damn. I always, so the first thing that comes to mind when I think of you is like back to those early morning lifts. You're standing there, like you're still, you tie the shoes up and, the coaches walk out. Everybody's like, oh shit, butthole gets a little tight for a second because it's about to start. You got to be on one, right? You got to be turned on or else you're going to lose all your reps. You hit a hurdle and warm up and everybody's starting over. That's no good, dude. Is clipping a hurdle the most anxiety inducing thing? You kind of look around quick and you're like,
freshman, absolutely.
100%.
Oh my God, I still think about that to this day. But when they would do roll call, they go down the list and it'd always be Keane, Kluver. And so that's what always comes to mind. You have any favorite games that we played?
Oh yeah, I mean for sure Michigan, right? I mean when Keith put that one through, that was cool. Obviously, that just storming the field, like that was always a memory that'll always stay with me. And then beating Minnesota too, the Rose Bowl year, that was huge as well. Obviously being from Minnesota, and obviously not going to play for the Gophers, I always wanted to beat them. That was always kind of our game, but. So I would say those two are probably my favorite ones, for sure.
Yeah. The Pig's decent. It's a good trophy.
100%.
It's always better winning the trophy when you're getting it from the other side of the field too.
For sure.
100%. 100%.
Or in their stadium. Just because I love to be quite disrespectful to the opposing fan base on the way out of the stadium with the trophy.
Yeah, for sure. What do you so you live in Chicago now?
Mm-hmm.
And you have been there for how long?
Since graduation. So yeah.
Oh, you've been living there. That's been your home base. Okay.
Yep.
What's that?
I was gonna say moving to Arizona though come September. I know we were talking about that a little bit before, but yeah, moving down to Scottsdale in September. I want to get in some warm weather.
Okay, just relocating because you have the ability to?
Yeah, I have the ability to, and just I've always liked Arizona. Growing up in Minnesota, it's just always been so damn cold. So I'm ready to get into some like warm weather year round for sure.
Yeah, well,
do you think you see yourself jumping around the country like every 3 years or something like that, or is Arizona a long-term plan?
I don't know. I'm definitely just gonna feel it out. I can see myself.
As soon as you get to the valley, man, you're not gonna want to leave.
That's kind of how I feel. I can see myself there for a long time.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the plan as of now.
That sounds nice. So I feel like just talking to you, people probably get the sense of like you kind of got your shit together. And as much as you feel like you maybe do or don't, I'd love to know what are some, you always see like the self-help books or like 3 things that every successful person does. And I know that kind of stuff like probably has piqued your interest at some point or other. What are some of the things that you do like on a daily basis that help you stay in routine, stay productive, stay creative? Is there any special secrets to the sauce?
Yeah, no special secrets as you guys know, but in terms of, I'm always getting in a workout every day. That's super important to me. I'm always drinking a bunch of water, which isn't like a hack or anything. It's just, I don't know, for whatever reason, it just makes me
get a bottle in you.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I mean, it's really just, and then it's just making a list of like a to-do list of tasks I need to get done for the day. It's really nothing fancy, 3 to 5 things that I need to get done, and a workout's obviously always included in that. And it's just, working a plan, obviously have goals and things like that, personally, professionally. And so just trying to work those the best I can. There's really no secret. I'm just kind of just going up and showing up to work like we did for 4 or 5 years at Iowa.
Yep, and go to work, man.
Yeah, that's really about it.
Is the plan to retire at like?
That's how Kevin became the CEO of Stryker Medical Supplies before his 30th birthday, dude.
Yeah.
He just got up and went to work.
Well, that company doesn't exist, so.
What's it called?
It's just Stryker Corporation.
Stryker Corporation.
Yeah, there you go. Kevin's on his way up.
The CEO's name is Kevin, by the way.
Yeah, Kevin Ward. Is the plan to retire? What's your best investment advice? Because I'm 26. Are you a big investor? Have you dabbled in the investments yet? Or
I'm honestly kind of just getting started in that.
Is Dogecoin going to the moon?
No, but I definitely did cash out a little bit on it when it kind of just hit a bump there last week or whenever it was 2 weeks ago.
God damn it, you didn't text me.
It wasn't much. No, I honestly, I know you guys. I think you had mentioned like Ike and Josie had been in on it for a while. Back when even when you guys were in back when we were all in college.
Ike and Josie were always in on the gold.
Yeah, they were buying gold back in like
lame.
Yeah, I feel like you guys are a lot more into that. What's new on your guys' side in terms of investments?
Well, Drake and I called DraftKings like 2 months ago, and it's gone up like 30% since we told the text group. I don't know if you've seen that recently, Drake, but it's at like 85 a share, I think it was, or something like that yesterday. And we were calling it when it was at like 57 or something like that. So
yeah,
damn.
I got Toyota. Toyota's going to be at the front of the electric vehicle market here about 2024, 2025. So I bought some Toyota, very premature, see if it can go to the moon.
Bitcoin dipped yesterday and today, so I'll probably invest the limited funds of the Wash Up Walkons bank account into that soon here.
Do that. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Roll the dice, man.
Fuck it. I mean, why not?
Hey, I'm gonna Venmo
a
you.
couple months ago when it was at the bottom.
You bought what?
I bought Boeing a couple months ago at the bottom, was up like 30%.
Oh yeah, airline recovery stock.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah, I watch this YouTube channel every morning. He puts out a channel. I think he's mainly focused on like Bitcoin right now.
Roy Kitty?
No, it's called Conquer Trading and Investing. So you guys can check. I think he has like 80 or 83,000 subscribers, but I think he's spent like 20, 30 years investing, and so he's pretty knowledgeable. So if you guys want to check him out, feel free.
Any podcasts or books that you highly recommend?
Podcasts. Yeah, I listen.
I mean, other than us.
Yeah, obviously, other than Washed Up Walk-Ons.
Those fucking guys aren't doing it.
I definitely, I really just listen to, it's called Real AF. It's by Andy Frisella. So that's actually a podcast. It used to be called the MF CEO Project, but he kind of transitioned over to Real AF, I think within the last year or so. But yeah, that's pretty much where I learned everything business. It came back from it started in 2014, when we were sophomores at Iowa. And so I pretty much listened to every episode from that. And honestly, that's where I learned a lot of my business stuff. So if anyone's, if you guys are looking to kind of learn more about business or whatever, highly recommend that. There's 300, 400, 500 episodes of it probably.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah.
I might.
Why go to college and you just listen to a podcast?
That's legit at this point. All the information on the internet that is available to you, college is a scam.
Yeah, I completely agree. Unless you're like we said before, unless you're a doctor, lawyer, or anything.
Lawyer,
I don't see
engineer.
Yeah. Well, even then, just go to trade schools or whatever if that becomes a thing.
Trade schools are way undervalued.
Yeah, I agree. And then it's like business schools. I feel like are gonna be gone in like 10 years.
Well, I saw that Google is coming out with some kind of course offering that you can get Google certifications or something like that. And they're higher than just a weekend warrior, go and spend 10 hours learning something. It takes a few months to do, but it's not a full on college education. I think that could be the beginning of the end for the old college. But Drake, what else is
football for Google?
Well, other than that, what else is a scam, Drake? College, COVID. Are there any others?
A lot of things that start with a C, I guess.
Politics. I don't know. Everything, basically. You got any extra rooms out there in the Scottsdale? Do you have a spot picked out yet? Because I might just move in. I mean, I am married and have my own place, but
for me or for Drake,
I'm gonna work. I want to work.
He knows he's not welcome to move into my house. He's talking to you right now.
I want to work for Connor Keane Incorporated and potentially live with you.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe later in life when you're my private trainer.
Yeah, we'll have a sick ass gym in the basement.
100%.
Yeah. Anything else, boys? Man, that was good.
I don't think so. I do really want to invest in your company when you take it public and make billions of dollars. So let me know and let me get in early. I know that's called insider trading or something. And I think
it's a great rat hole.
Pelosi just did it with 10 million. So
yeah, dude, listen, all of those crooked pieces of shit, you and I could at least make a couple dollars off of them and not feel bad about it,
Got you, man. For sure.
Connor, we appreciate you coming on, brother.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. It's been a blast for sure. I know we've been talking about it for a while. Yeah, because I think Tyler, when I texted you, I was out in Colorado and I came across a street called Polecat Lane.
Yep.
I sent you a picture of it, and that's what made me think of I think that's when we kind of started texting again.
Yeah. And since we started this podcast, man, the whole walk-on story and just kind of the uniqueness of what you've done since we met at Iowa in 2013, it was always one that I wanted to highlight on the pod. So I'm glad we got to sit down, man.
Yeah, for sure. It's great getting caught up. We'll definitely have to keep in touch more than we have been.
100%. Episode 209 of the Wash Up Walk-Ons. Hopefully you guys enjoyed your time here with Connor and us. We will be back again on Thursday. Might preview the Hawks' last practice of spring a little bit. Maybe we'll have a guest. Who knows? Either way, you'll get to listen to our three dumbasses.
So did the spring game not happen?
They're not doing a spring game.
There's no spring game. It's just two open practices.
Oh, okay. So you went to one of two?
Yeah. The third week Saturday was open, which was not yesterday, but 8 days ago. And then the last day is open as well.
Hell yeah.
I'll be back. I'll be back in town. Kevin will not be there. Drake will not be there, but I will be there.
Maybe you'll be able to attend your first crawfish boil, you fucking square.
All right. Well, with that, we're going to log off. Everybody, thanks for listening. Peace.